Peace and blessings, family. This is Sunray here, and this will be my official first video that I'm uploading to my channel. I go by Sunray, and I just wanted to bring you a video where I show, I guess, really just an update of my journey, my plant growing journey, and talk a little bit about saving seeds, reducing waste, and the reasons for that. So, and also we'll get a little bit into how to start seeds. So, I'll be honest, I am only really learning, or not only, I'm learning mostly from my experience of doing the work. So I read, but there just are not enough books in the world to really give you the information on exactly what it is that you want to know. Sometimes it takes forever to find information on a website, and so I figured that I can just bring you direct information, answer specific questions, and it'll be a lot easier that way. And we can do little short snippets where I'm just answering one-on-one questions or something like that. But so let's just get started. So one of the reasons why I started to save seeds was because I guess I've always intuitively known that I grew up with parents who would tell me not to be wasteful, and grandparents who would tell me not to be wasteful. Eat everything that's on your plate. We were eating different things then, but as I started to get older, then I started noticing like all these plants that we eat, our watermelons, our apples, our oranges, and grapefruits, and things like that, they all have seeds in them. And this is really before I started doing any reading about it, but something in me just said to start saving the seeds, because I guess we never know what can happen with the way that the production market is going now in the U.S. The government offers subsidies and incentives for farmers to grow corn and wheat, because so many of the foods, the processed foods that are in the grocery stores, are made from corn and wheat, just processed versions of it. But that's not really helping the farms to sustain. And if you know anything about farming, or if you don't, I'll share it with you now. The farmers usually have to plant something different every season, or not every season, but they might have a season where they're growing one product, and then the next season they have to switch up that product, because if you grow too much of the same product, then it will begin to draw out specific nutrients out of the soil that are not replaced fast enough. And so when you mix it up, you create diversity in the vegetation that you're growing, then you begin to also diversify the soil, the richness of the soil. Also, there are things in agriculture like having to rotate that's what it's called. It's called rotating crops, but you might also have to rotate locations. So anyway, the reason why I bring that up is because our farmers are not growing enough diverse products, and so most of our foods are coming from the same farms. They're coming from the same places, but what happens if their farm happens to have issues. If they're having issues with their soil. Not only that, but our food, they take, you know, days, sometimes a week to get to our grocery stores. And so most of these foods have to be picked early before they're ripe and eaten quickly. And you've probably seen this when you're in the grocery store. You're checking your food because you want it to look perfect, right? But you're also really checking to make sure that it's not already going bad, so that by the time that you get around to using it, it hasn't molded and rotted in your refrigerator, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this to you is because I have a vision that the more of us that we can get to start our own home gardens, the more fresh food that we collectively as a community will have available to us. One thing that our ancestors used to do back on the continent of Africa before the Ma'afa was people had their specific trades. You know, you might have a carpenter, you have a mason, you have a seamstress, and, you know, all kinds of practitioners in the community. But I mean, they didn't have a need to have one farm or one farmer. Like, that wasn't a profession, because everybody grew food. Everybody grew their own food. Now, what made it so diverse and so strong was that maybe I grow tomatoes, you grow potatoes, and they're growing apples, and they're growing oranges, and they're growing lemons, you know, things like that. And what I don't have, I can get from you. You don't have, I can give, you know. And so it just became like a food sharing system. You know, they would trade goods for the welfare of the community. Everybody was putting up, because at the end of the day, you don't want your crops to go bad. All the things that you've, you know, put energy and time into growing. Anyway, I'm rambling. So that's just a little bit of the reason why I'm doing this. So I started saving seeds. Some of the things that I saved, I started using dates as sweetener and in my smoothies and other things, you know. The thing about dates, you kind of want them to soak in some water for 8 hours, usually overnight. That'll soften them up and make them easy to blend. But if you can find some dates that are not pitted, save the seeds. Save the seeds. This will also cut down on the amount of money that you have to spend in the future, because, you know, you now have these seeds. You can grow your own. You don't have to grow them all at the same time, you know. Seeds are really good, so they stay. So this is what a date seed looks like. I haven't grown any dates. How I'm storing them right now is in a Ziploc bag, and I always remember to put the name on the bag, because I made a mistake one time. Oh, it looks like I got an apple seed in there. One time I made a mistake, and I stored all of my grapefruit, lemon, lime, like all my citrus fruit seeds, I stored them together, and so when I planted them, I had no idea what I was planting. So when they began to sprout, I have no idea what I'm looking at. But it's okay. We're going to keep nurturing them until they get big enough and start bearing fruit, and then I'll know. I have two kinds of apples. I have Granny Smith apples. That's courtesy of my love, which the seeds are really small. You know what apple seeds look like. I also have Golden Delicious, because they're so sweet and so delicious apples. I have grapefruit seeds. I have a couple of orange seeds. I haven't had oranges in a little while, and I'll get back to that. Kumquat. I had a kumquat at work. A co-worker gave me, and so I decided to just hold on to the seeds. And finally, lemon, which this one I'm a little embarrassed to show y'all, but I'll show you anyway. Lemon seeds, right? So this is the reason why. Oh, I forgot. I also have avocado seeds. You know, the avocado, because you know they're so big. So the thing about these plastic bags, I don't think that this is the best way to store, because they trap in moisture. And so if you can kind of tell, they're the moisture in there is making them begin to sprout. At first I looked at them and I was like, oh, they're molding. And they are molding a little bit, but all it is really is just, this is the reason why, if you understand that nature, like George Washington Carver says, nature produces no waste, right? So if you can see this here, I don't know if I'm in the way or not. Come on, focus. Anyway, you kind of see a root has sprouted from this seed. I'm a little nervous about opening it right now. I'm gonna open it and show you how to plant these. But as of right now, I just wanted to show you that the moisture trapped in here has caused, well, you can even see some of the moisture over in this corner. It's caused them to begin sprouting. Same thing with these avocados. They've gotten warm, and so they're getting soft, right? And so because of that, the decomposition process, if you really put it into perspective, what do you think happens when you plant something? It's going to break down anyway. The things that oftentimes, you know, from the moisture and the heat together, that just makes them sprout roots. So, and that's what you need to grow a plant, a tree, or whatever. But the most important thing, they also need oxygen. These bags are not giving them oxygen. So what I would say, just kind of a lesson learned so far is, if you want to preserve your seeds for longer than a couple of weeks, then probably the first thing you need to do is allow them to dry out on a paper towel. After, you know, because, for example, I have some plum seeds in there and some cherry seeds inside, and when they come out of their fruit, they're extremely moist. So I allow for them to dry out a little bit before I put them into something. And I'm still looking for what is going to be the best thing for them to be stored in. But as of now, I just have these plastic Ziploc bags, and it works. So, getting started planting something. So we're going to start with some lemon seeds, because they're ready. They're really ready. What you want, you can always start small, remember that, is a styrofoam cup. And yes, I'm bringing the inexpensive way to grow food in your backyard, to start seeds, because I understand that most of us live in apartments, like I do. I live in an apartment, and so I don't have access to a yard where I can just plant a lot of things. I do have some planters out here. The planters are filled for the most part. I have a couple of extra pots, but I want to save the pots for what I know is going to need it, what's ready for it, rather. Like I have some basil over here that looks like it's about ready to go into something bigger. Yeah, you know, or like my peppermint, which, you know, I started that really small, and then once I put it in a planter, it started taking off. So, I wish I brought one over here to show you. Hold on. So like here, this is an example of one of my started vitamin C, I label it C on there, trees. So the stem, the stalk is, or the trunk is getting a little firm, you know. But you see, I started off in one of those same styrofoam cups. The reason why it looks so dirty right now is because it's been raining a lot, and when it rains, the rain really just hits the dirt and splashes it everywhere, but that doesn't really matter. So yeah, you're going to need a styrofoam cup. You're going to need something to poke holes in the bottom of it with. You're going to want popsicle sticks or something that you can label with. These are really good because the sun does not bleach the color of the ink, and so you'll always be able to read them. A Sharpie, a Sharpie, something to write with, some permanent ink, some potting soil, like this. It's for containers, and some water, and some seeds. And yeah, I got just a bottle. I put some water in there, and your seeds. So, as I said, you're going to want to have something you can poke holes with. I have this Leatherman, and you don't need a Leatherman because I think this is about $20 at Home Depot, but it's not necessary. I'm just using it because this is what I have. So the first thing you want to do is you want to poke a hole in the bottom of your cup. This is going to allow a drainage through the bottom. So you see, you poke a hole. Just go ahead and do a couple. And for this size, I only really think I need one hole. This has been working out successfully so far. So the reason why you want to poke a hole for drainage is because plants, they need to dry out. The roots, they need a chance to dry out. See, this is moist, but it has that hole there for it to drain through, right? And what I just noticed, which I didn't see before, is you see the roots coming out the bottom? That probably means that it's ready to be transplanted and into something larger. We're going to say that this is my journey tree. It's either lemon or lime. That's my journey tree. That started with my journey, basically. And I started that from seed as well. I just don't know what it is. So with your Sharpie, before you put any soil in, you're going to want to label what you're putting in that cup. So in this case, I'm going to say lemon. Labeling is super important. So you can either label directly on the cup, in this case it's fine, or you can label on your popsicle stick, where you just write the name. And what I like to do on the opposite side is I like to put the date. I find that having the date on there can tell you a lot about how long it takes for the particular plant you're growing to sprout, and it just tells you a lot about the health of it, the growing season. As I said, a lot of this information is available online. I find myself just kind of going with the flow of things. And like I said, in the case of these lemon seeds, it's more so out of urgency. It's time to plant them. So we're just going to plant them. We're not going to wait until the winter or something, because then we risk just losing the life, like them suffocating in here. So the next thing that you want to do, you want to fill up your cup, probably about to this level, with soil. And I just do it the very simple way. I just dip my cup down into the soil, scoop it. So you see, got soil in here. It's dry. I'm gonna poke a hole. Let me see. And poke a hole down in here. And then we're going to place our seed inside. If you can see it. So it looks like this seed here, it doesn't smell bad, by the way. This seed is showing its roots coming out of the bottom, the most pointy end. That's where it split open at. So that's the wide end, and that's the end that was pointy. So I want to plant with the root side down. So we're gonna do like this. Uh-oh. And then we're gonna cover it. And then you're gonna water it. And ideally, you wanna water until you see water coming out of the bottom. I see my water coming out the bottom now. Right? And so that's it. Rinse and repeat. So next I'm going to do my avocado seeds, which probably will be a lot similar. Go ahead and open this. Ooh. That's what this one's looking like. You see the decomposition process happening on it. It's really cool. I'm not afraid of it. I just don't want to touch it right now. I actually... Alright, let's go back. With your popsicle stick, the one that you labeled correctly, make sure you stick that in the cup with it. On this one, you saw me already mess up. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that out, you know, and I'm going to label a stick to say avocado. Avocado. Now, in this case, I actually don't think that's a bad idea to maybe put a little less soil and then place the seed inside. I don't even know if this is gonna work, to be honest, but I'm just put that in there. And maybe put the soil on top of it. I mean, I don't know. We're going to find out, you know, real soon. if it works out. And then water it, because everything needs water, right? All right. So now we've planted a lemon and an avocado. The next thing you want to do, and the final thing, ultimately, always what you want to do is place it in some full sun if you can, or it's the place where it's going to get the most sun. I have a little corner over here. I know that the places in my garden, they get different amount of sunshine. Now we got somebody out here making noise, but that's the idea. You want to plant them, water them, and then set them where you think that they're going to get the most amount of sun, and just watch it, you know. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in. I hope that this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Peace.